3 shots, 4 par, I just do 2. 1 putt, par 4, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew, shoot and make
We're in conversation with Marc Casullo, pro golfer, maybe the hardest get in golf, man. We've been trying to set this up for a long time, since like episode probably 20 or 30, and here we are, 154 episodes into it, and we finally got you. Maybe we can just start it off with Italy, man, if you don't mind, or give us a little introduction about yourself, and then we'll just we'll jump into it.
Yeah. So my name is Marc Casullo. I from Aurora, Ontario. I've been playing pro for, now I almost feel like a vet. Sounds weird. I've been playing since end of 2018, start of 2019. I've had status on either or both Latin and Canadian since. So for the last 4 years. Yeah, I mean, had a couple good mini tour summers in the last couple of years, and I was good on the Canadian tour, but game the last few years has taken a big jump. But you also in golf, you have your valleys within that. Everyone knows that there's peaks and valleys, and trended upwards the last few months, and played a Canadian tour event at TPC. Missed the cut on number, but unfortunately played well, and from there it kept trending, and then went to Italy for the European Q School and managed to qualify through some weird rainy weather, and looking forward to Spain in a month. So that's pretty much me.
So we had 2018. You went to, is it Francis Marion?
Yeah.
All right. So can we go back
to middle of South Carolina, pretty much. Yeah.
So how'd you end up there, Marc?
Oh, yeah, we could talk about that for a while, but I was looking for the longest time. I think a lot of Canadians do this. We look to the U.S., but we try to stay somewhere north because it feels like close to home. But in the grand scheme of it, as soon as you're 3-4 hours away, you're far. You might as well be 12 hours away, whatever.
Right.
So I was actually verbally committed to Xavier. I played the U.S. Junior this summer of 2013, and got some good recruits there, and Xavier was my top one. That fell through right before early signing, and then I was talking to Michigan State for a little bit. Didn't really feel like they wanted me, and then I actually knew a guy who's from the area who was helping players like me. He goes, "Hey, I know this guy at the school called Francis Marion. No one really knows about it. They're a D2 school, but they play D1 golf. The coach, funds the D1 program, and they're middle of the pack. You'll be playing probably most of your time there, and the weather's good. You want me to give them a shout?" And I was like, sure, why not? So my whole mindset in college golf, where I wanted to go, change from, let me stay in I wanted to go to a Big East school. Like Villanova was my top choice. I had all these like Rutgers, St. John's, and I'm like, I'm not going to play golf there. I'm going to study more than I'm going to play golf. So my thought process turned a full 180, and ended up going down there, and I think I played like 40 of the 45 possible events my 4 years, and that's where I learned how to play. I mean, you can't replicate college golf, the balance of school, travel, teammates, all that, and it was a good time.
Yeah, we've been lucky enough every few weeks or so to have like an NCAA player, or somebody's been in the NCAA, so we've had just about every EMU guy on too, and they're mostly they're all in this
Central
area too. Yeah, so
EMU Central.
Yeah. So everybody's from like I don't know, probably 100 kilometer radius maybe, or mile radius of
well, I feel like
Toronto here.
the American coaches kind of link they get one Canadian that they like, and they kind of get
it's a pipeline
more,
for
sure.
Like I know Moorhead has. Van went there, and then a couple more Canadian kids went there, and then Kent State I know has had a few Canadian kids. Like I feel like there's just those couple schools that enjoy the Canadian kids and get them all on. So
before my time it was Detroit Mercy.
Yeah,
there was like a little stretch of guys, and I was actually recruited. Went on visit. I don't know if you ever had Brendan Leonard on the podcast, but he was the senior at the time. I just couldn't get over the fact of I went in November, and it was freezing, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I here? I could be sell. So
I think David Byrne went there. Bryce?
I played
yeah.
That was the pipeline. I think there was a stretch where he was just coming to the Ontario juniors and just recruiting crap out of us.
That was close to home for him too, because he's a Windsor boy, just across the river there.
Yeah, haven't had Brendan on yet. We chatted a little bit, haven't had him on yet, but I'm sure in the future.
He's a funny guy, good guy, and just absolutely strikes the golf ball.
Yeah, he was like, I followed the TPT quite a bit and stuff in the last couple of years, and I know that
TPT legend.
He was dominating it last year, right? So it was he's got some game, but
there's rumors that I might put my skills up to the test in a TPT event next year. There's rumors of it.
Unfortunately, I don't know if TPT is going around next year. I can't really say the news yet because I don't know. I keep hearing it from other people, but I don't know if it's going to be going on.
I was just kidding. Me and Mac were talking about. I've been playing a while lately. Me and Mac were talking. We gotta just get you in an event here and see how you do.
You might as well. Get your feet wet.
We'll get you into a qualifier or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Bryce has the potential, like me, just on a lower end, on a lower scale. Like he could shoot a 66 or an 86, but if he shoots a 66, it might be good enough one day. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I went 66, 92 this year, back-to-back rounds, so that explains my golf game in a T there. So.
That's funny.
Mine's been consistently bad, so like I haven't really had any high points lately, which has been maybe good for my mental game. It's just kind of like stayed in the.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm not scared to tell anyone I shot a 92 because it happens.
It happens, man. It happens. Remember, DJ went 80-80, and then he won the Masters or whatever, right? So it happens, man, to the best of them. So
you can't make sense of golf.
No.
So to take it back to the NCAA just for a bit, that your story kind of reminded me. We've had Andy Walker on, so I don't know if you have Andy or if you know Andy. So he coached Lynn University, so they were pretty much the top for a little while. They were top D2 school in the country. They won the national championships, and then he went to VCU, and they went from like, I think they were around like 100 or 120 or something like that, all the way up to like top 30 or 40 school in the country. So it's kind of cool how he was able to share the story of the recruiting side of things and how players get recruited, how he recruits, and how he had, a lot more connection with that maybe at the D2 level. Then you get to the, D1 level. There's just, he kind of explained he likes to keep the same. There's just more money, right? They just take a plane where they go or whatever it might be, right? So
it's tough for players because at the end of the day, they want to be carrying a bag that has like a really sick school, but if they're not playing, it's kind of pointless. So there's that fine line. There's that fine line where it's like, okay, I mean, I have a Michigan State bag. Like I walk around, it makes you feel good, but you play one tournament that year. And the recruiting's crazy. I mean, I don't miss it one bit because it was just, I mean, you send an email, don't get a response. Send another one, don't get a response. Then you play good. You come like second or third, you win something. All of a sudden, boom, they're right on you. So
yeah, I went through it with lacrosse. It's just mayhem. But you said it best. I mean, you played what you said 48 of 49 or whatever the number was. Like you probably grew so much in your first 2 years and learned so much because you were playing and not just practicing and not going to tournaments. I mean, I'm sure you you really appreciate that decision you made because of how much better you got in those first few years.
Yeah, if I went to one of the first schools I was thinking of, I probably wouldn't have played my 4 years. I would have been probably 2 years and into the books, just because it's hard, man. Like you go to a bigger school and you're pretty much told in a way that you're probably going to be the 9th, 10th guy unless you somehow wow everybody. And knowing where I was in my game, I was technically going into like I'm a late 96, so for me, I was going into school as a 17-year-old against guys that are 23, 22. Like I need a couple of years to get my feet wet. And when I found the opportunity to be like, okay, well, my first year at school, I struggled, and it's tough because you got a coach that's actually not coddling you like you were as a junior. Where I mean, as a junior golfer, your coach says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Like they're there, it's all good." When you're in college, man, you have a bad round, you hit a bad shot, you're getting reamed at because you're getting paid to play for that program. So that first year of playing, getting my feet wet, it really it matures you pretty quick. And playing pretty much my whole 4 years was a big. I mean, I learned a lot playing with bigger, better schools. I mean, it is an individual sport. I cared for my teammates, but when you're playing in a group with Duke and Clemson or Duke and NC State, at the end of the day, you're like, okay, it's me versus him. It's not our school versus their school. So,
yeah, it's we've heard that so many times, Bryce, where we hear the story of how it's a team sport, but it's really just it's an individual thing as well, right? Like you're trying your best to play so you can be in there the next week. You want your buddies to get in, but at the like you become friends with all the guys, but at the same time you want to be that next guy up. Like if you're not playing, then and that coach is getting paid to do that job too, so he's not afraid to go with the top 5 guys or top 4 guys who are playing that.
If you're not top 50 in the country, the team's great, but it's not. It's like when you watch the NCAA double championship on TV, like those are playing for their team. When you're at a small school, I mean, you try, but when you're finishing middle of the pack at best, or I mean, you have a top 5 here and there. At the end of the day, you're worried about where you finish, and your teammates are there for your support. But at the end of the day, you kind of all get the feeling that you're playing for yourself.
So, if we can transition into the East Coast Pro Tour, rumor has it you were involved with one of the best match play matches in history of golf potentially. So it's Ryder Cup right now. Ryder Cup's coming up. We're releasing this. I'm going to do a late night edit, get this out Friday. So some of you have stayed up late to watch the Ryder Cup or got up early, one or the other. So you're involved with past guest Ty Saloni. You're involved with one of the most epic matches in match play history. We've heard it from his point of view. Can you give yours? Do you remember the match, or was it just like a blackout moment for the both of you?
It was funny because the whole way through the finals, I don't think I had my best at all, but I was grinding my way to win 2-1, 3-2, winning extra holes against Eric Banks. And I finally get to the finals and I'm like, I'm on the range and I find something and I'm starting to hit it well I'm telling you, like, I did not hit it well the whole match play. Saying to my dad, I'm like, I found something. This is gonna be a good day. Like good finals. And I just walked into an absolute machine. Like Ty, I think, to be honest, I don't think he even thinks about it, but like he made 190 feet of putts with like in the first 11 holes, if maybe even more.
And that's such a killer in match play, man, when guys are just draining putts.
And I'm tying holes while he makes a 30-footer, I'm making a 20-footer just to tie him. And I'm after 6 or 7 holes, I'm like, man, I'm 3-4 under and I'm down 2. Like it was just absurd. The putts he made, I tell everyone, like if the guys on tour, he's probably better than 90% of the guys on tour putting, just straight out. Like I've watched the guy just roll the ball. And to be honest, like that day, it wasn't really a blur. I was just sitting there like, you know what? I'm 5 under, he's 9 under, whatever it was, through 12 holes. Hats off. Like,
yeah, what do you do, right?
I was lucky to get this far, and to be honest, I brought my best for the finals, and that was what I was proud of. I just had no chance against him.
Just like playing catch up all day.
It was insane, and I don't know, the fans that were out watching, I don't think they even understood how many feet of putts he made. It was just every hole I was like, okay, he's gonna drain this 30-footer. Like I gotta drain my 15-footer. Like I just had that thought for the whole way, and I drove a par 4. Well, we both did, but I made eagle on a par 4 to win my first hole. That was the only way to beat him.
That's wild, man. It just sounds like it's just his day. Like it was your day as well, but it was just his day. Like
he's an absolute beauty, and he honestly, when I'm putting well, I literally tell all the guys like I'm putting like Ty today. Like that's all. My mindset's if I can roll the ball like Ty, then like, you're going low. So.
I'd like to hear that, man. We had a good time talking with Ty, and he had that Sasquatch 5-wood in his bag still, and we had probably a 10-20 minute conversation about that.
He knocked me out in a playoff this year at the ECPT Machine X. He knocked me in Seb out in the playoff, and it was funny because that morning before we teed off, he was a group ahead of me, I think, and he's on the range hitting shots. We're kind of just scraping it on the range. It was kind of raining. And I don't know if you've had a cougar on the pod.
Not yet. No, I think that's one of the. We've talked with him a little bit, but that's one of our missing EMU guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really good buddies, and he calls over Cougar and he goes, "Give me a shot shape. I'm gonna see if I can pull it off." And Cougar goes, "I don't know. I think he says high draw," and Ty push cuts it. like not even close. And he just looks at Cougar and goes, well, it's going to be a long day. And the guy moses over to the first tee and shoots 5 under. And I'm like, come on, Ty. Like, this guy's he's a wizard on the golf course. I mean, he's a guy that he just gets it done. And it's kind of, when you watch him play, I don't want to like say it in a bad way. Like, there's guys that stripe it. Like, I'm not a guy that really stripes. I'm kind of more on the Ty side. But like, there's guys that just know how to get the ball in the hole. And when you see him do it, it's kind of motivating yourself. And then he also just, every time I play with him, he just puts the nail in the coffin for me. But whether it was a match play or that playoff, he drains like a 15-footer, and I have like an 8-footer to move on to the next hole, and I didn't make it. So
yeah,
he's a great guy though. I love him.
Mac here for Manscaped, the best in men's grooming. We are back with a limited time offer on the Performance Package 4.0. If you're not watching this on YouTube or on Instagram or somewhere that we have this video posted, you should go look, because I'm going to show you everything in each one of these lineups. The Performance Package 4.0 comes with the Crop Reviver, the Crop Preserver, the Weed Whacker for the nose. This thing would take down Eugene Levy, and the Lawnmower 4.0. We scroll down to the Platinum Package. It includes the Crop Preserver that we already talked about. You can't see it in the screen. Over there is a Crop Reviver, the body wash, shampoo, and conditioner, plus the deodorant, said Weed Whacker, said Lawnmower 4.0. And on top of that, you're going to get free boxers, my favorite pair of all 3 pairs that I own, my favorite toiletry bag of 2 toiletry bags that I own, free shipping, plus 20% off using the promo code OTSGolf over at manscaped.com or manscaped.ca. The best in men's grooming. Let's get to the back nine. Speaking of guys getting in the hole, my old buddy Anthony Spagnoli, I've played with him quite a few times anyway, and like his short game is unreal, man. Like, I know Anthony's just he's just an older guy out there golfing all the time. But
yeah, I don't even know if he, like, I play with him only at TPC, and I don't even think he misses green. So I couldn't even tell you that his short game isn't, like, he just stripes it, and he just does it. Like, it.
Yeah, I think we played the Monday after. It was it would have been 2022 or 2021, one or the other. We played the Monday after the Open there, and I think he shot 73 or something. It's like he didn't miss, man. And I saw one of the craziest. They had it playing as number 18 coming down the trees on the left-hand side off the tee shot. And then the par 5 on the road is on the next hole. So I think they have that playing as 18 coming in the event. And I saw him. He was on the right side. The one time he missed the green, he was on the right side of that big hill where you walk from the green to the next tee block there, which I think is number 10, the par 5.
Yeah.
And I saw him, and like that green's got like kind of that crazy like little mound in the middle, that like little valley almost in it, and they had the pin kind of like tucked in there. And I saw the craziest up and down from him on that one, man. He just like flopped something like 80 yards in the air, and it just dropped right beside the pin, stayed there, and he just went up and tapped it in. But yeah,
Anthony's a great guy.
Oh man, one of the best.
Yeah, we try to play at least once a year. This year we haven't been able to, but he's just a great time to just be on the links with. Like, he's one of those guys that you want to force him just because he makes it interesting. He's fun to watch. He keeps it light, and he's also played so many good golf courses. So I always bug his ear.
Yeah, it's so cool.
What do you think of this course? Why did you rank this course this way? And
yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah, one thing he won't tell you is what like the best courses are. He's like, he's such a politician in that way, Anthony. He's so good with it, but he knows, like, he's played all the top 100 in Canada, and he's played probably 40 or 50 of the top 100 in the States. Like, he knows them all, man. It's just so great to, like, I'll message him. We'll start talking about a course, and he'll just explain like the bunkering or something like that, and how it was, similar to this or that. Or it's really cool to have a conversation with somebody who's seen He's seen that many courses. And then every time, Bryce, almost every time he asks if you've played the Bluffs yet. That's one of the things he says. Bryce been out there and played the Bluffs.
Oh, I need to, man. Yeah, I need to. The place looks awesome.
That whole area looks cool.
I also want to go to Treetops too. They have a few courses there. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but it's a good. It's a northern Michigan too. It's a cool little spot. They have 4 or 5 18 holes in this like kind of resort area thing, and my buddies went up and played there. Apparently it's a mammoth, but yeah, it looks really nice. I just want to go back to Italy a bit with you and the was it European Q School you said? Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to take us through maybe a couple of those rounds and how that went?
Yeah. So as a whole, Italy was sick. I don't know if you guys ever been, but you
My
go to
parents
Italy.
are actually there right now. I gave my dad shit for not getting Ryder Cup tickets, but that's besides the point.
No Ryder
Yeah.
Cup
So
tickets for Greg, and he's over there right
He,
now.
well, I told them they booked their trip because they're going to see Chad in Sweden.
Yeah.
But they booked their trip, and then I was like, "Hey, do you look at Ryder Cup tickets?" And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, the Ryder Cup is in Rome when you're there." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know." And he went and looked, and they're just all sold out. But
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, Greg, you gotta know better."
yeah, that well. Side note, like that I didn't realize the course that they're playing the Ryder Cup's that hilly, so it's gonna be fun to watch. But yeah, Italy was cool. I mean, food and everything. You're gonna get probably the top of the line no matter what. Unfortunately, we had so much rain come down there the day or so before I got there. Me, Gordo, Craig Sparrow, we all played practice rounds together, and pretty much puddles of slosh, and everything was kind of casual water. And course is gorgeous. It's about 45 minutes west of Milan, and uh, the first 2 days the weather was good, which allowed us to. I mean, the course definitely dried up a little bit, and then rain came in Thursday, and it got washed at 36-hole event. And I guess before teeing it up, I even told myself like, this might not go 72 this week. You gotta get out and get going. And it was good. I played well, and I was lucky enough to get paired up with Jonas Blix, 3-time PGA Tour winner. Not I
Hmm.
didn't even want to ask him how he's at first stage again, because I want to hear what the story is for why he's there, what status he has. But it was actually good to have a guy like that to play with. It took me a few times during the 2 rounds. I was like, before he was hitting, I'm just standing to the side on a par 3. I'm like, you know what, this guy's won 3 times. How come it hasn't sunk into me yet that I'm playing with a 3-time PGA Tour winner? But he also, I feel like he playing with guy. I got played with another guy who had I don't know, like 80 Corn Ferry starts. So like I was playing with 2 really good players, and I think it kind of woke me up a little bit to kind of rise up a little bit to my best. Kind of, not really to show out or show off to them, but just to see how well I can stack up against them. And coming into it, my game was really sharp. I had a lot of top fives back to back to back in ECPT events. I came 6th at the Canada Cup, 2nd at the TPT Tour Championship. So I was playing really good golf. I was playing, paintbrush, hitting 18 greens, 14 fairways, shooting 65 2 days before I came to Italy. So I was playing really good. Honestly, I was in a good spirit, and I was 6 under, 5 under the first day, and followed with a 1 under on a tougher day, and I was sitting pretty good the whole way through. Even if we did end up playing the 72 holes, I was kind of confident in my game. So, again, the golf is weird, because about 4 or 5 months ago, even 3 months ago, my game was like the lowest it's been in the last 3 years. Had a little bit of equipment issues, a little bit of putting woes. I think they were both coming hand in hand with each other. But then I found something, and you kind of, in golf, when you find something, you got to see how long you can hold on.
You gotta run with it.
If it's a month, try to make it 2 months. If it's 2 months, try to make it 3. So just gonna keep doing the same thing, keeping the same mindset all the way to second stage. Second stage is November 2nd. So
Where's that
looking
at? Is
forward
that
to it.
Italy too?
No, so it's in Spain. It's
Oh
in
no,
4 different sites, and then they tell you the location. Like you just get put into one of them.
nice.
And
That's
if you
sweet though
get
to get some traveling with Q School. So
Yeah, and then if you get through that, then the final stage is like 5 days after in Spain as well, and it's a 6-day event. So
nice. That's a
that'll be good.
bagger. That could be a
Yeah.
bagger of a
Oh yeah.
few
Yeah.
weeks there. Holy.
And if you make final stage, I think you have automatic challenge tour status. So it's kind of
Oh nice.
that's kind of my secondary goal. Everyone wants to go there and play on the European tour. That's why we sign up. But
Mhm.
challenge tour would also, getting to the final stage would be a pretty big
The
goal.
the challenge tour is essentially like the Corn Ferry of
Yeah,
the DP, right? Yeah.
yeah. Corn
Yeah.
Ferry of the DP. I don't know I don't think it pays as well. I would say it's probably in between the Canadian Tour and Corn when it comes to payout. But the travel looks sick.
Yeah.
And the experience looks pretty cool.
Yeah, we were. Well, one of our just most like, I don't know, I guess organic chats was with Craig Stafferak, Bryce? Like we were on for a while even before the call. Like we
You
were
can
on,
dig deep with that guy.
man, we
You
Yeah.
can
were,
dig deep.
I think we had
He's
like
a
almost a
beauty.
2-hour episode, and then we just like, I guess we all had nothing going on that night. And we were just kind of shooting the shit, like we were all sitting in the same living room. It was cool, but he was telling us a pretty similar story in that. I wonder if a lot of like, maybe you probably have a similar story. You grew up like maybe played hockey or something like that. You got into golf, and then golf kind of becomes your sport, and then you turn pro one day, and then I wonder if there's something to it where we don't have like that mental mindset or that mental set point that maybe a lot of Europeans do, kind of growing up playing the game, and like there's got to just be more passion there, right? I think anyway, or there's got to be something to it, because he said the same thing. He had been walking, he was playing a DP World Tour, like I think it was a qualifier, and he ended up going like 6 deep or something like that, and he beat somebody who was like I think they were
DP world champion. Or
yeah,
something.
yeah. They had won like they had won 3
events.
events or something like that. Yeah. Same type of story, and that's when he said he kind of realized like my game is there. Like it's it was like a boatload of confidence for him. So not that Canadian golfers or all of us in general down here in North America aren't confident, but it's it might have taken a kind of a round like that playing with Blixt, who's won a few times on PGA Tour, or a couple guys who played on Corn Ferry Tour, to really know you've got it, and that type of confidence. And then when you said you found something in your game, that's the second time you said it. So I kind of wanted to ask you about that. Like I feel like when I find something for a hole, I'm trying to just be like, let's find this for two. Let's find this for 2 holes. Right. Let's find this for 3 holes. There's no doubt it's going to fall off the rails for 1 or 2, and I'm going to be writing something with like a 0 on the card or something, or a 6 or something like that on the card, but then hopefully we get it back. But when you say you find something, you said you found on the range earlier, right before that match with Ty. What does that feel for guys like me who don't know? What does that feel like, man?
You wonder why you couldn't find that earlier. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
I can't explain how you find it. I think the problem with a lot of guys at my level, or even like both of us, is we're always searching for something that we already in us. Like for me personally, I'm not a big like technical guy. I do work a lot of swing stuff, but I'm always on Instagram, YouTube, looking at, I don't know, ground force, or how to hit it further, or how does Rory swing it. And then 2 days or 3 days of trying something new or different can actually set you back like 2-3 weeks of what works for you. And the problem is it's right in front of you. And I'm not trying to even sound like pretty philosophical or anything, but like the things that work for you, you can't just take it for granted. And I think with me is I have a certain swing that works for me, and guys that are always trying to get better try to find something that isn't them. And I think just the way golf has gone in terms of more Bomber's Paradise, or what you see on TV, the guy you see on TV is obviously striping the crap out of his golf ball. I mean, you're not seeing the guy who's hitting everywhere. So you get into this realm of, is my game even good enough? So you go down this beaten path, and next thing you know, you're trying to find yourself out of it. And the way you find yourself out of it is what worked in the past. What routine stuck with me when I played well this tournament? Like you don't realize it's right there for you. You just decided to kind of leave it. And that maybe that's just for me. I mean, guys could be different, but for me at least, it's more of the search of things that you shouldn't even be searching on. It's just stick with what you got, and when you find it, it's pretty cool. Like I know you say you find it for a hole or 2, but you get into that little zone. I call it that little pocket of this, like my swings in my pocket. It feels so good. You feel like you're not missing anything.
No, I like that.
I feel like it's almost like a little light bulb kind of when you find it. Like, I mean, mine was a little more physical than mental, because, I mean, one day I couldn't find my driver, I was missing everything, and I literally just played with my grip on, like, my hand placement on my grip, and just flushed one, and it was like, oh, light bulb. And then I just like before my next shot thought about my grip and kind of readjusted a little, and then boom, right down the middle. It's like I feel like everyone has their own thing, but it's almost like a light bulb. I feel like it's like, oh, like that went well. Let's do that again, and then you kind of find it and you build on it. So that's kind of how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it was
I don't
funny
know what
because
I'm trying to say, but
when I was just after when I just got over the hump of, I don't want to say hump, I was not playing well, and I'm on the course with my dad at my home course at Summit, and I said to him, like, you know what, when I won at ECPT last year, this is my swing thought. When I played well in 2 Canadian Tour events that year, we had that like Canada Tour for Canadians mainly. The 2 turns I played really well, I came second and like fourth. This was my swing thought. And then when I played my 3rd round in France Q School last year, when I shot like 4 under, the 2 days were not great. They're all the same swing thoughts, is what I'm getting to. And he goes, so why'd you stop thinking of that? Like, why we only think about it those 5 times? Like, why'd you play well and not think of it? And I was like, you know what? Because I didn't think that was right. Like, I'm watching guys on TV or guys teaching a certain thing on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and then you start getting away from it. And so moral of the story is I'm sticking to my own roots and just trying to hone that swing thought that I have and not get away from it, which at times, even there's been times the last few weeks where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that, and then I go back to it and hit it down the middle. So
well, we've Brycer and I have been lucky enough to chat with Ryan Hawley, so he's out west. I don't know if you've ever met or talked to Ryan. So he's like the ground force guru. Yeah. So listening to him talk about it and talk about the golf swing just through the feet essentially, and like how much goes into that and the ground force and whatnot, it's really impressive, but it's also super technical. And right now we're all talking about distance and whatnot, and Victor Hovland making a hole-in-one on a par 4 and pretty crazy stuff. But at the same time, like, you got to remember, like, Jim Furyk, one of the most successful golfers of all time, the only guy to shoot a 58 on PGA Tour, has the most, aside from Matthew Wolff, probably the most unique swing. Mo Norman, like, kind of guys like that, but like maybe one of the most unique swings in all of golf, right? So in golf history. So obviously he gets it done, he stripes it. You got to work, you got to do it, works for you.
Swing.
And like, that's what Furyk says all the time, just swing your swing, right? It's going to work for you. Kiz says the same thing. Like, Kiz gets outdriven by guys by like 80 yards and still smashes them in match play, right? So it's kind of something that, although equipment is changing, technology is changing, you still have to swing your swing. And I've tried things like that too in my game. Like, my game's kind of been off the rails, but I remember watching Sam Bennett at the Masters, and I was like, okay, he's got that, like, really, like, for me as a lefty, that low left hand, like, he really, like, gets that trailing arm, like, to a really cool spot. I like that. Like, I remember trying it, and I was like, I striped it, and then I'm also 36 now, so like 3 holes later, I was like,
I don't know if you have that in you anymore.
I physically, like, do not have the ability to do this for more than like 3 holes at a time. So that's just not something I can incorporate in my game, unfortunately. But just I don't know. I used to watch Chris Ryan YouTube videos quite a bit too.
Yeah,
he's got some really good stuff, and he simplifies it a lot. So that's kind of more where I'm at now. But watching some of those guys trying to duplicate it can be really tough. Like, trying to get out there and swing it like Neiman or something like that. Bryce might be able to, you might be able to, Mark, but like, that'll just destroy me over time. But man, it's kind of cool to hear that story and hear, like, when you find it, essentially, right? So I'm lucky enough to, like, I've caddied a few times for my buddy Ziggy, so I get to see a guy firsthand, if you know Ziggy Nathu, who always has it. Like, you literally watch the guy, and he's like always got it. So I'll just live vicariously through those moments, I guess.
There you go.
But, I try to live through them too, because I tell everyone that I play with, or like anyone I play with, I'm, man, you strike it so good, and they were like, you don't give yourself enough credit. And I watch other guys hit. I played with Gordo today, and I don't know how many times you guys have played with him, but his iron game, long game is just, it's butter. Like, it's always so, like, perfect. Whereas, like, for me, I hit it pretty damn straight. iron game is solid. Wedge game is where I make my hay, and I putt pretty well usually. But like I always want to, like I watch him play, or I watch I don't know, a guy like Ziggy or a guy that strikes it, and I'm like, ooh, like maybe I can try that. And then again, you can get down that wrong path where you're trying to find something that your body's not capable of even doing, or you've how many golf balls have I hit in my life? Probably, I don't know, over 1 million, and why am I trying something different now? So
yeah, well, and like I've told this story before, like when I was carrying Ziggy on the Thursday, I think our Thursday round we were 1 over, I think, and no, we were even par. Sorry, he hit 17 greens, all the fairways. We didn't miss a fairway. Hit 17 greens, 17 birdie putts, made one, missed one, and 3 putted one for an even par. Right, so probably led the field in ball striking after round 1, but it was even par. Right, golf can be cruel. It can be like we were saying, like his missed putts, like he probably was 3 feet in total for like 18 holes. Like there wasn't much space, like where they're all on the edge of the cup. So that's a couple of them go in. He ends up making a few of them, or they're, an inch away, and we're talking 6, 7, 8 deep or something like that. And, you're on to the weekend and playing well. So golf's just kind of I don't know, it just beats the shit out of us sometimes. But when you got it rolling, man, you got it rolling. And right now, Mark, it sounds like you got it, right? So
yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, it comes down to how many putts you make. Like, you can sit probably 100 guys anywhere at my level and on a range, and you wouldn't even know who's going to win that week. You got to find the guy that's making their putts. I mean, yeah, there's the guys that don't have a good ball striking week. That's the 10% you can throw out, but 10% of my game I can throw out for the whole year. But in the grand scheme of it, it's who makes those 10 to 20 footers. That's what it comes down to.
And the answer's Ty Saloni, apparently.
Yeah,
I've been putting like I've been telling everyone I've been putting like Ty Saloni for the last 2 months, and I'm just trying to stick that way.
What a great feeling, man. When you got other pros on, just saying like I putted like Ty. That's great, man. Good for Ty.
I hype him up so much because I literally watch him roll it. And
fellow lefty
what
too, man.
Was this year? He came like second or third, and the second day I was playing behind him, and it was kind of slow, so I could see the guys ahead of us play. It was Nesbitt, Banks, and Saloni, and every time Saloni's on the green, I see his stroke from 140, 150, 160 out, and as soon as he hits, I'm like, that's it. Drains it. Next hole, drains it. I get off the course, I'm like, dude, how many greens did you hit today? He goes, I hit 4 greens and shot like 4 under. And I was like, get out of here, man. Like you just roll it so good.
It's nice to have that ability too. If not everything's there, and you can still find it. But before we get off the, I know Brycer's only got a few more minutes. Before we get off the topic of the Q school, so you said it's November 2nd, so end of September here. So what's the anything different in your prep? Like, what's the next month look like until you head back?
You know what? Like things are kind of staying right now. This last week, just getting home, I've been kind of just taking a little debrief of everything, just traveling a lot. I mean, didn't play the Canadian Tour. I've only played 1 Canadian Tour event this year, but going back and forth, ECPT, Canada Cup, back and forth, like you kind of just need a little time to kind of digest. I was grinding pretty hard up until Q school. I think it's always a good time to just reflect a little bit, kind of figure out where to start the process again. So this week's been kind of relaxed. I mean, when I'm playing, it's still, you're going through the motions, the right thoughts. Next, I'm heading down south for a little bit. I base my winters down in pretty much South Carolina area. That's where my fiance is from, and it's a good spot for pretty much almost the whole year. I mean, just January gets a little tough on the weather, but still playable. I mean, you get good weeks, good days to play. I'll go down there. I might be playing a G Pro Tour event mid-October. Might find like another 1 or 2 day event down there, and then that's pretty much that'll be my prep until because there's nothing up here to play in anyway. So it's better to be down there and play some good events, and then fly out and see what I got out there.
Yeah, I guess in the next coming weeks, like, well, where you guys are in Italy there, or if you're moving to Spain, like you can't replicate that weather at all here right now. Like it's not even close, right? So
I would assume they're on Bermuda in Spain, so it's actually probably a good thing that I'm heading down south.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, like if you can kind of find that same type of turf to interact with a little bit, that would probably be pretty nice. Do you have any like preferences? Do you struggle with like Bermuda over just like our regular bluegrass or bent grass up here?
I don't even know at this point.
No.
I don't know. Like when I first came back from college, I was like, man, I love Bermuda grass. And then I come up here and I putt better, but then I chip. For some reason, I chip worse up here, at least in the past. Now I don't even think it matters at this point.
Well, Bermuda greens have a lot of like grain and stuff to them, right? That we don't, isn't that right?
Yeah, the good thing with Bermuda greens in, I guess, dormant season is that they roll really true, kind of like up here. There's a little grain to play with. Summers down there, good luck making.
The grain will just take your ball everywhere.
You're gonna have 36 spots unless you know how to, unless you grew up in those areas. But I don't really have a preference. I think just the courses are different too, so it kind of evens out. I find Bermuda grass, the rough's usually a little shorter and thinner. Bent grass can get pretty long, but you can also get through it. And then chipping around the greens in Bermuda, you can kind of be a little nippy with them. And then around here, I guess it is pending how tight the grass is, but for the most part, coming out of the rough and bent grass, you're just playing somewhat of a chunk and run, pitch and run kind of thing. Bermuda, everything kind of just sits a little softer.
Yeah, you don't hear that often either too. Like it seems like a lot of guys maybe struggle more, so you'd have to add like maybe a little bit more balance or something if you're down playing Bermuda grass. But like if your short game's your game, then and you kind of you went to school playing it, then hey, it's good if that's those are the kind of tracks you're gonna be playing in Spain.
Yeah. I got a 4-degree bounce strictly from just college golf playing.
Oh wow.
Playing on dormant Bermuda grass where it's kind of wet, and for the longest time I still use it up here. And then this was the first year I actually switched over to I think an 8-degree, so still not that high, but
a 4-degree is probably a butter knife on the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm playing on Quebec when it's wet, it got kind of tough to hit like 30-yard pitch shots, but
yeah, you'd be taking like 16 inches up here sometimes if you're playing early in the season.
It's so nice though, because when you get the bad lie, and some guys struggle with it. I always have my 4-degree. I'm like, this is cake.
You can just dig it right behind the ball there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought that with like watching guys like Jordan Spieth and stuff too, right? So that's kind of he's able to control it so well, and he's playing such low bounce, that like it's just crazy to see the differences in people's bags and stuff like that. But he's able to kind of make it work. He's one of the best short game players in the world, right?
Well, those guys are so different too because they can switch wedges depending on the course, right? Yeah. Like wherever they go, they just get one freshly made for them for that course specifically. So
I find guys in Texas have such different chipping mechanisms, and just because of the conditions they play in. Like
I'm pretty sure Texas ground is like very hard and compact. Yeah.
So you learn how to play off that kind of stuff, and then wind related to like ball striking. But like Scheffler and Spieth, they have their own way of being really good chippers.
Yeah, because like they kind of just pick the ball, really. Like it's like, and to have that confidence to be able to do so is awesome. Like, but it's like I don't know. I've played some wedges with low bounce, and you have to be so incredibly accurate.
So precise, yeah.
Like you miss it just a little bit. Yeah.
If you gave me a high bounce, I don't know if I could. Yeah. I don't know if I could even hit it, to be honest. I'm so used to
bounce off it too.
Yeah.
Well, I like what you said with like people growing up in different conditions, because like I love watching Shane Lowry play in like windy and rainy conditions. He's always in the top 10 if it's crappy weather, because he grew up in Ireland just in those windy, rainy conditions, and he's so good compared to other guys. It's insane.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in where you grew up or where your home course defines your kind of style of golf too, for the most part.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, you even see that with like Hav and like Robbie Mack and stuff like that. Some of those guys are just so talented now, right? Obviously they come and they play, on the on the PGA Tour, and they like kind of adapt to the style of North American golf. But then that's why like the Ryder Cup can be so scary, right? Because some of those guys are just so damn good, so pure, man. Do you tinker with the gear at all, Mark? Just before we gotta let you go, Bryce, but do you tinker with gear at all?
More than I should, to be honest.
Attaboy.
If you ask my dad or Kevin Gordon, them two especially, they will say stop tinkering. I'll have probably 3 driver shafts just chilling, and I'll literally hit 14 fairways, and the next day I'll just change shafts just to see.
That's not the definition of me in my golf game. I don't know what it is.
But the thing is, I'll never change the shaft that I'm playing. It's just I try it. Like I hit 3 shots in the range and then go back to it. And my dad would look at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, just messing around."
The same way. It's hilarious.
Putters, thank goodness I've found some. I did a lot of. I struggled with my putting earlier in the year. I think a lot of it has to do with the slower green start the year, but I put a lot of work into it and got myself a new putter, and probably for the last 2 months haven't even sniffed bringing another putter with me to a tournament or traveling with another one or even having one in my hands. Because
Did you change neck style?
what's that?
Did you change like the neck style of a putter when you
What do you mean the
switched?
neck? Oh, the neck. No,
No? Oh, okay.
I've been what do you call it? It's the face balance for the longest
Okay.
time.
Because I switched neck style, neck style, and my putting went from the worst putter in the world to pretty
You good?
solid now. Yeah. So I don't know if you did that, but
I was my lowest point. I was switching through. I had like 5 putters on the putting green, and I had some members come up to me like, "What the heck are you doing?" I was like, "If you've seen how I've been putting," and then I got to the point where I was putting with the Steve Stricker OG like white hot putter he had. So
the number 2, yeah.
So I had the same one. I won a Callaway World Junior putting contest when I was like 8 and got that putter. So this thing's like 29 inches long.
oh,
And it got that bad that I grabbed the putter out of the garage and I started putting with this thing. I'm like, man, this is so pure, like absolutely so pure. And it's not a face balance, it's a toe hang, so it's completely different from what I was putting with. And I forget where I played my first tournament with. I think I had like 26 putts the first day, and then the next day I had like 35, and I was like, all right, that's going away.
yeah.
Or a new putter, and since then I've been fine. So
what are you using now?
Yeah, what is this that we got here? Because I'm zoomed right in on it.
Oh, that's an old one. That's my arm lock. So I regret those days. I putted with the arm lock last year, won 2 tournaments with it, and I hope I never use it again. I think it's probably it's cheating in a sense, to be honest. I don't know how to explain it. I really feel bad when I use it and see guys use it. I've been using the White Hot OG. It's called the 7 Bird, which is like kind of not that popular. It looks like the Trail Bird, but a little smaller.
I think I know what it is.
I'm gonna look it up because I've heard of it.
Yeah, take a like.
It's like a mid mallet kind of, right? Like it's not a full mallet, but it's like a little like thicker than a blade.
It's like the Fang, the Odyssey Fang ones.
Yeah.
Like the ones that,
but then
the back is covered.
Like okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And the only reason why I got it is because I was down in the U.S. for July 4th weekend, and I was on Callaway pre-owned, and it was $100 for brand new.
I surf those sites all day. They're great.
Oh, it's like the Ricky Fowler putter a little bit. That shape.
Yeah, that's what you said. It's like the Jailbird.
Yeah, like the Jailbird. Yeah, that's right. That's why I knew it. Because then I was like thinking like when you were rolling that Ardmore for a little while, similar shape, but it has the cross of it. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. They're all the rage right now, man. People are loving those things right now.
Dude, it rolls nice. I mean, I also think at the end of the day, it comes down to how you're rolling it. Like
for sure, yeah.
I fixed my stroke significantly through. I was using the Sam Putting Lab with my coach out in at the paintbrush pulpit area, and I was like, we got to get on this thing, and because I was just putting horrendously, and I was like, it's not stroke, because he looked at it, he goes, it's not your path, it's just something going on, tempo, whatever, and we kind of dialed it in, and since then it's just been money.
Did you see your home track was Summit?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I almost played it the other day. My uncle's a member there, so I'm trying to get out there as soon as I can. I heard it's pretty...
man. Course is in good shape right now. I took Gordo out there a few days ago, and he liked it. So he gave me a good thumbs up on that one. But Summit's sweet. Been there for a long time, so.
Yeah, the to go back to the putters, I've always rolled the number 9 of that shape. So like when I was a kid, I rolled the White Hot number 9, and then moved into kind of the toe hang with the Del Mar, and I've rolled the Del Mar ever since. So haven't really strayed too much off of it, but it's like,
good for you.
Yeah, for me, there's never been like an issue with my putting at all. And then when I went to an arm lock, I had an ER2 there for a little bit. I found it was like almost automatic to control distance, which I think a lot of people are able to start the start line off like really well. And I think that's why a lot of golfers go to it. You take out a lot of error with your start line. Like if you can start your putt on the right line, it'll stay on the right line. But man, I felt it was almost like a cheat code for like long putts. But for me, I felt like I didn't start the ball as well as I did. I kind of like the feel. I'm a bit of a feel putter, which I think putting is the best part of my game. It's not even close. It's like by far. So when you get good at it, you're a feel putter. Like to get to that, like there's only so much robotics that go into putting. I think you have to be able to like read a green and feel good about it. But yeah,
for sure.
It's that's kind of all I got right now. But Bryce, I know you got to run. You got hockey. Mark, this was great, man. Really appreciate you making some time for us here. I know
I owed you guys. I owed you guys big time.
I know you got some time coming up. Like you got a lot of big things happening in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully, when you're playing on the DP World Tour next year, we can have you back and have a conversation. We'd love to, man. Maybe kind of catch up. We'll get Gordo on. We'll do a 4-man or something like that, and we'll have a good time. Bryce and I are starting to do some live pods, and you guys sound like you're both pretty close. So maybe we can
maybe a match next summer. I don't know.
Yeah, me and Gordo against you two.
You two, and then we'll get like 18 shots.
No, me and Gordo, the lefty righty matchup.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So we'll put something together, Mark. But this is great. Really appreciate it, man. My buddy, really good friend of mine, Anthony Spagnoli, speaks very highly of you. So I appreciate you making some time, man. All the best with the qualifiers coming up and in Q School. So hopefully next time we're talking, you're there, man. But good things are coming, man. I can feel it. You're finding something by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little wiser from my old days. That's what I say. It took me till now to realize it.
That's good though. We started off the pod saying that you're a vet, so it's good to kind of hear that, man. But we'll get this popped up in the next next day or so. I'm gonna throw an edit on this now, and then hopefully we can chat again soon, man.
All right, boys. Appreciate
Lions are dominating, by the way.
Love that.
He's out in my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross. Worst case